Hello, and welcome to Learn English Through Stories. Today's story is called The Hidden Treehouse. It is a heartwarming mystery about curiosity, friendship, and the joy of discovering something forgotten. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. Let's begin. Emma was 13 years old. Every summer she visited her grandmother's house in a small village. The village was quiet and peaceful. There were colorful flowers, green fields, and tall trees everywhere. Emma loved spending time there because life was slow and calm. This summer felt different. Her grandmother smiled and said, "I think you will find something special this year." Emma laughed and asked what she meant, but her grandmother only winked and said, "Sometimes the forest keeps its own secrets." Emma became curious. She wondered what her grandmother was talking about. Was it an old story? Was there really a secret hidden in the forest? She decided that she would find out before the summer ended. The next morning, Emma met her best friend Noah. Noah lived in the same village and loved exploring new places. He always carried a small backpack with a notebook, a flashlight, and a bottle of water because he believed every adventure needed good preparation. "I have a feeling today will be exciting," Noah said with a smile. Emma nodded. "My grandmother said the forest has a secret." Noah's eyes became wide. "A secret?" he asked. "Then we have to find it." The two friends packed some sandwiches, fruit and water before walking toward the old forest behind the village. Birds sang in the trees, and the cool wind made the leaves dance softly above their heads. The forest was beautiful. Sunlight passed through the branches and made bright patterns on the ground. Small butterflies flew from flower to flower, and squirrels quickly climbed the trees. Everything looked peaceful. After walking for nearly an hour, they reached a part of the forest they had never visited before. "This place feels different," Emma whispered. Noah looked around carefully. "It's very quiet," he replied. There were no walking paths anymore. Tall grass covered the ground, and vines wrapped around old trees. It looked like nobody had been there for many years. As they continued walking, Emma suddenly stopped. "Did you hear that?" she asked. "Hear what?" "A wooden sound, like something moving." The wind blew again. Creak, creak. This time Noah heard it too. "It came from over there." They slowly followed the sound until they stood in front of the biggest oak tree they had ever seen. Its trunk was so wide that both children together could not reach around it. Thick branches stretched across the sky like giant arms. Then Emma noticed something unusual. "Noah, look up." Hidden among the leaves was a small wooden house. It was old and covered with vines, but it was clearly a tree house. The windows were dusty, and the roof was covered with green moss. From below, it almost disappeared into the branches. "A tree house!" Noah shouted. "I can't believe it." Emma smiled. "It must have been here for years." They searched around the tree and soon found an old wooden ladder hidden behind thick bushes. It looked weak but still strong enough to climb. "Should we go up?" Noah asked. Emma took a deep breath. "I think that's why we came here." Carefully, one step at a time, they climbed the ladder. The treehouse was smaller than they expected, but it was beautiful. There was an old wooden table, 2 chairs, a small bookshelf, and a dusty window looking over the forest. Spider webs covered the corners, and dry leaves lay on the floor. "It feels like someone left in a hurry," Emma said quietly. Noah gently touched the table. The room was silent. Suddenly, Emma noticed a small blue notebook lying under one of the chairs. She carefully picked it up and brushed away the dust. On the first page, written in neat handwriting, were the words, "If you found this treehouse, you are exactly where you need to be." Emma looked at Noah. "This isn't just an old notebook," Noah smiled. "I think it's the beginning of an adventure." Emma slowly turned the page. Inside was a simple message. "Welcome, explorer. My name is Oliver. If you are reading this, then you have discovered my secret place. I have hidden something very important in this forest, but only kind and honest people will be able to find it. Follow the clues carefully. Your first clue is where the oldest friend watches the sunrise." Emma looked confused. "What does that mean?" Noah thought for a moment. "The oldest friend. Maybe it's another tree." Emma nodded slowly. "It sounds like a puzzle." She closed the notebook carefully. "We're coming back tomorrow." As they prepared to leave, Emma looked around the treehouse one last time. Near the window, she noticed something carved into the wooden wall. It was a small symbol, a tiny oak leaf inside a circle. She gently touched it with her fingers. "I think this symbol means something." Noah smiled. "Then tomorrow we find out what." The sun was beginning to set as they climbed down the ladder. They walked home quietly, each thinking about Oliver's notebook and the mysterious clue. Neither of them knew that this forgotten treehouse was about to lead them on the greatest adventure of their lives. The next morning, Emma woke up earlier than usual. She could hardly eat her breakfast because she kept thinking about the notebook and the strange clue. Her grandmother noticed the excitement on Emma's face. "You look like someone who has found a mystery," she said with a gentle smile. Emma smiled back, but decided not to tell her everything yet. "We're just going for another walk in the forest." Her grandmother nodded. "Be careful and remember, sometimes the greatest treasure is not made of gold." Those words stayed in Emma's mind as she met Noah outside the house. "I couldn't stop thinking about the notebook," Noah admitted. "Me neither," Emma replied. "Let's solve the first clue." Together they walked back to the giant oak tree. This time, the forest felt more familiar. The birds were singing, and the morning sunlight shined through the leaves like tiny golden stars. They climbed into the treehouse and opened Oliver's notebook again. Emma read the clue aloud. "Your first clue is where the oldest friend watches the sunrise." Noah looked out of the window. "The oldest friend. Maybe it's another old tree." Emma thought carefully. Which tree sees the sunrise first? They looked toward the east. On top of a small hill stood a single ancient pine tree. It was taller than every other tree around it. "I think that's it," Emma said. The two friends hurried toward the hill. When they reached the old pine tree, they searched around its roots. "There has to be something here," Noah said. Emma noticed a flat stone with the same oak leaf symbol they had seen inside the treehouse. "Look!" Together they lifted the heavy stone. Underneath it was a small metal box. Their hearts beat faster. Noah carefully opened the box. Inside was another folded piece of paper and a tiny wooden compass. Emma smiled. "This compass is beautiful." It looked old, but it still worked perfectly. She unfolded the paper and began reading. "Well done, explorer. If you found this compass, you are on the right path. Always remember that a compass does not choose the destination. It only helps you stay on the right path. Your next clue is hidden where the quiet water reflects the sky." Emma looked at Noah. "The quiet water." "The lake," Noah answered immediately. "There is only one lake in the forest." Emma laughed. "Let's go." The lake was about 20 minutes away. When they arrived, the water was perfectly still. It reflected the blue sky and white clouds like a giant mirror. "It really does reflect the sky," Emma said softly. They walked around the lake, searching carefully. Minutes passed, but they found nothing. Noah sighed. "Maybe we're looking in the wrong place." Emma sat on a large rock near the water. She looked across the lake and noticed something unusual. "Wait." She pointed toward a small wooden dock. "Look at the end of the dock." There was another tiny oak leaf symbol carved into one of the wooden posts. They quickly walked over. Under the last wooden plank, Emma found a small cloth bag tied with a piece of string. Inside the bag were 3 smooth stones, each painted with a different picture. One showed a bird, one showed a tree. The last one showed a small house. There was also another note: "Nature always gives more than it takes. Choose carefully. Only one of these symbols will lead you forward." Emma looked at the stones. "This is another puzzle." Noah sat quietly for a moment. What was special about Oliver? Emma thought about everything they had read. He loved the forest. He wanted kind and honest people to find his secret. And he wanted people to protect nature. Noah nodded slowly. "Then I think the tree is the answer." Emma smiled. "I agree." She turned the tree stone over. Written on the back were 3 simple words. "Return to home." "Home?" Noah asked. Emma suddenly understood. The tree house. They hurried back through the forest. When they entered the tree house again, Emma noticed something she had missed before. The wooden table had the same tree symbol carved into one corner. She gently pressed it. Both children jumped in surprise. A small hidden drawer slowly opened beneath the table. Inside was another notebook. Unlike the first one, this notebook looked much newer. On the first page was a photograph of a smiling boy standing inside the treehouse. "It must be Oliver," Emma whispered. He looked about their age. Behind the photograph was another letter. Emma began reading aloud. "Dear friend, if you have reached this point, I already know something about you. You are patient, you are curious. Most importantly, you care about this forest. The final secret is close. But before you discover it, promise me one thing. Protect this place. Never let people destroy it. Some treasures become valuable only when they are shared with kindness." Emma closed the notebook. "I think Oliver wanted someone to continue taking care of the treehouse." Noah nodded. "It wasn't just a game. It was his dream." Emma looked around the little wooden room. For the first time, it no longer felt abandoned. It felt alive. As the afternoon sun filled the treehouse with warm golden light, the friends realized they were only one clue away from discovering Oliver's greatest secret. They looked at each other and smiled. Tomorrow would be the final day of their adventure. The next morning, Emma and Noah returned to the treehouse one last time. The forest was peaceful, and a cool breeze moved gently through the leaves. It felt as if the trees were welcoming them back. Emma placed Oliver's 2 notebooks on the wooden table. "There has to be one final clue," she said. Noah looked around the room carefully. This time he paid attention to every corner, every shelf, and every piece of old furniture. Then he noticed something strange. The bookshelf isn't touching the wall. Emma walked over and looked behind it. "You're right." Together, they gently moved the bookshelf a few inches. Behind it, they discovered a small wooden door hidden inside the wall of the treehouse. There was no lock, only the familiar symbol of the oak leaf. Emma slowly opened the tiny door. Inside was a beautiful wooden box. It was carefully wrapped in a soft green cloth, and beside it was one last envelope. Emma took a deep breath before opening the letter. It read, "Congratulations, dear explorer. If you are reading this, you have completed every clue. You may think this box holds a great treasure. Perhaps you expect gold, silver, or precious jewels. But the greatest treasures cannot be bought. Open the box with an open heart." Emma smiled. "I like that." She carefully lifted the lid. Inside the box they found something unexpected. There was no money. There were no diamonds. Instead, there were dozens of handwritten letters, colorful drawings, and small photographs. Every letter came from a different child. One letter thanked Oliver for helping plant new trees. Another talked about building birdhouses together. One child wrote about learning how to protect animals. Another thanked Oliver for being a true friend during a difficult summer. Emma quietly turned the pages. Each letter told a different story, but they all shared one message. Oliver had made people happy. Noah looked thoughtful. "So this is the treasure." Emma nodded. "He didn't leave behind riches. He left behind kindness." At the bottom of the box was one final notebook. On the first page, Oliver had written, "If you have found this treasure, it now belongs to you. Not the box, not the letters, the responsibility. Please continue this story. Take care of this treehouse, protect this forest. Welcome every child who comes with kindness. And one day, leave your own story for someone else to discover." Emma closed the notebook very gently. For a few moments, neither of them spoke. Outside, birds sang happily in the trees. The forest felt brighter than ever. "I think I understand now," Noah finally said. "The real secret wasn't hidden. It was created." Emma smiled. "Every good action became part of the treasure." That afternoon, the 2 friends carefully cleaned the treehouse. It simply said, "Welcome, friend." Over the next few weeks, they visited often. They planted colorful flowers around the giant oak tree. They built a small bird feeder. They picked up litter whenever they found it. Soon, other children from the village joined them. Some brought books, others painted pictures. A few even wrote their own stories and placed them inside the wooden box. Little by little, the forgotten treehouse became full of life once again. Before summer ended, Emma wrote one final letter. She placed it inside the treasure box. It said, "Dear future explorer, if you are reading this, welcome. You may think you came here to find a mystery, but perhaps the mystery was really about yourself. Be curious, be kind, protect nature, help others. One small act of kindness can become someone else's greatest treasure." Now it's your turn to continue the story. Emma smiled as she closed the box. She knew someone would find it one day, maybe next summer, maybe many years later. As she climbed down the old wooden ladder for the last time that summer, she looked back at the treehouse, hidden among the green leaves. It no longer seemed forgotten. It had found new guardians, and its story would continue for many generations. Thank you for listening to Learn English Through Stories. We hope you enjoyed this story while improving your English. Every story teaches us new vocabulary, useful expressions, and important life lessons. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Keep learning, keep reading, and we'll see you in the next story. Happy learning.